Kiwanda-IT'S. I'm the former Central Executive Committee member in charge Central Region, that's Buganda. I'm also former Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities. I'm also former Member of Parliament for 3 terms, representing Mityana County North in the Parliament of Uganda. I'm a former Resident District Commissioner, representing His Excellency the President in Karamoja and the Kabongo District in particular. I'm also former chairman of the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus. And I'm also a founder member of the National Resistance Party. I'm founder number 36. We call ourselves the promoters. I've come here to renew my expression of interest with the NRM Electoral Commission on the 2 positions, on the by-election that's going to take place. For the 2 positions, one for Honorable James Kakoza, another one for Honorable Densu Namara, who joined the National Parliament. So I'm here because I had expressed interest before, but because we had, I think, according to, we had expressed more earlier, so now they say no, we should redo it. So today, 30th of June 2026, I've renewed my expression of interest with the NRM Electoral Commission. So I request them to forward my name to the Central Executive Committee, which later will forward my name to the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, and finally to the Parliament of Uganda to represent this country to the East African community. Why Kiwanda-IT'S? First of all, I come on board with clean hands. I've been in leadership for a very long time, but nothing you can talk about Kiwanda in terms of corruption. As a former minister, as a former member of parliament, as a former resident district commissioner, I move with my head high. That is very important. At a time when we are fighting corruption, it's very important that we have people with integrity. Number 2, I bring on board I come with experience. The East African Parliament should not be for people to begin with. I don't believe that people should begin their journey of politics with the East African community. No. East Africa, it's a representation that you have come here to represent the country. You must have the country at your fingertips. Kiwanda-IT'S, as a former resident district commissioner, for example, of Karamoja, when we are going to talk about the disarmament of the region, you know, I was an RDC in Kabongo. Kabongo touches 2 international borders, that is South Sudan and Kenya. And all these countries are members of the East African community. And the problem we have with the Toposas, the Matheniko, the Bokora, the Jie, the Trukanas is basically about disarmament. It's about cattle rustling. So these are the things that we are going to address at a regional level. Things that cannot be addressed at a country level, at an individual country level, but a regional level. So when you talk about disarmament, it's something that you cannot say that somebody should just be beginning to join the East African community. Number 2, as a former Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, we want to sell Uganda we want to sell East Africa as a unit. It's very important that we sell East Africa with a single tourism visa. So how do we promote the single tourism visa, the one that I started when I was the Minister of Tourism? Now, among the 3 countries, that is Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda, you don't need to pay a tourism visa on each one of them. But we want to expand the tourism visa to cover the 7 countries of the East Africa. So that once a tourist arrives in East Africa, he can be able to tour DRC, can be able to tour Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, probably even Somalia. So it's very important that we build on building, and through tourism, we shall be making more money for the region, and we shall be doing more jobs for the people to enjoy. And it's very important that now that our people are here, we cannot base our employment for only in Uganda. We should expand our horizon as Uganda, and by expansion, we must do the East Africa. Number 3, Kiwanda, I'm coming on board as a chairman of the National Consultative Forum. As I talk now, I head all the political parties in the country. That is very important. I've just started a move to join all the political parties in East Africa. And in Rwanda, I'm already in touch with the chairman of the National Consultative Forum, Rwanda, the chairman National Consultative Forum, South Sudan. Want to bring all the political parties umbrella together so that we can share experience. That one, you need a very experienced person. So I come on board with all this, with the vast experience. When we talk about, when time comes to talk about party politics, Kiwanda is on top there. When time comes to talk about tourism, I'm there. Trade, I've participated in trade as a minister. You know, tourism basically trade. Tourism is basically an export. I'm a coffee farmer, which is also very important. I'm a national ambassador for the National Coffee Research Institute. I'm a national ambassador. Over the weekend, this time I was in Bukedi with the vice president. I was in Teso with the vice president to promote coffee, into growing of coffee. And coffee is a regional crop. We must look at coffee as a region, not just as Uganda, because we must keep the quality, we must keep the quantity, we must also keep the clone, and the clone must be kept with somebody who has the knowledge. So I'm coming here with experience. I'm offering it to the party for free. This offer is for the national resistance movement. You've nurtured me, you've actually made me grow at this level. So it's time now that the national resistance movement shall benefit out of the input that they've actually inputted me, and actually they've also nurtured a cadre. And finally, I want to request the members of parliament, of the 12th parliament, to vote for me, Kiwanda Godfrey Sowe. Vote for experience. Vote for a person who's actually with integrity. Vote a person who is knowledgeable about the region, about the East African region. I want to request the Central Executive Committee, the team that I've just served with, the members of the Central Executive Committee, the chairman of the party, General Kaguta Museveni, and all the members of the Central Executive Committee. You need a credible person. You need a person with experience that shall be presented at the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, and finally the NRM Parliamentary Caucus will push me to the National Parliament, of which I know I'll be able to convince even members of the opposition to vote for Kiwanda Godfrey Sowe. I request for your vote. The former chairman of Uganda or SEC or Buganda or Central Region, era Kiwanda nze former Minister of State or Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, mbadde mbaka Parliament ebisanja bisatu mu Parliament ya Uganda nga nchikirira constituency ya Mityana North. Kiwanda mbadde Vice Chairman wa NRM, naye ng'ogyeko ekyatera na chairman wa Buganda Parliamentary Caucus. Ebintu bingi mbikoze mu kiseera kino nze chairman akulira mukago gw'ebibiina guyitira National Consultative Forum nga nkiikirira NRM ku bibiina by'ebyobufuzi. Nziza olwaleero okuzza obujja okwewandiisa kwange oba okwagala kwange, expression of interest, eri ekibiina kyange ekya National Resistance Movement, nga nkisaba okunzikiriza okubeera flag bearer ow'ekibiina kino nga tugenda mu kalulu aka East Africa ak'okujjuza ebifo ebibiri, ekifo ekyavaamu James Kakoza n'ekyavaamu Dennis Namara. Nzize Chichitendese on board. Lwaki Kiwanda? Number one, nzize na experience. Nzize gye muli bakwano bange bannayuganda ng'omuntu alina experience. Kye ngenda okukola as a former RDC, former minister, former second member, former member of parliament, former chairman Buganda Parliamentary Caucus, n'ebifo ebirala bingi, former youth leader n'ebifo ebirala bingi. Nze ndowooza nti ekifo kino ekya Iyala tulina kukitandikirako. Abantu tulina okusooka okumanya. N'omanya nti nno oyina w'oyise okutuuka ku level okukiikirira eggwanga. Olwo bwe ntuuka lwaki ngamba nti Kiwanda nti mbagambe nti nali RDC ow'e Karamoja. Being a former RDC of Karamoja, ekyo kyogera kinene nnyo about the security of the region. Mukimanyi nti kati obutabanguko obusinga kati buva mu disarmament, buva mu Katora Soring eri mu Karamoja. So when you talk about the Kiwanda nja kuba nkitegeera bulungi. Bw'oyogera ku nsonga y'okuteekawo ebyobulambuzi ebya East Africa, that's my target. Njagala kulaba nti tusobodde tutya okuteekawo kye bayita single tourism visa, ng'omuntu bw'ava wano asobola okutambula amawanga gonna aga East Africa ng'asasudde visa emu. So njagala kubasaba mmwe aba National Resistance Movement okusingira ddala ekibiina kyange olukiiko olw'okuntikko olwa Central Executive Committee mbasaba n'obuwombeefu ti nga mwagala omuntu agenda okubakiikirira, nga mwagala omuntu alina obumanyirivu, nga mwagala omuntu alina integrity gye mutabuusabuusa, gye mulabyeko, gye mugezesezza, londa Kiwanda Godfrey Suubi mu Central Executive Committee, oluvannyuma tuve mu Central Executive Committee olonde Kiwanda Godfrey Suubi mu NRM Parliamentary Caucus, and finally olonde Kiwanda Godfrey Suubi mu Parliament ya Uganda. Mbasaba okugenda okujjuza ekifo ekyo kye tumanyi nti nno omwezi guno bajja kuwanga amaze okulangirira olunaku newalayo mbadde nzize okuddamu okwolesa okwagala kwange ku kifo kino ekya East Africa.
My name is Balia Beatrice Karungi. I come from Fort Potro. I am a Mutoro by tribe. I'm happy to inform the nation that today I've been verified and clarified to go ahead to contest for Yala by-election 2026-2027. I want to appreciate greatly God for this opportunity. It's been long waited for, and we thank God that it has enabled us to come through today. I also want to thank our great leaders and the mighty party NRM for this initiative and all the strength and all the energy that they've put to make this day come to pass. Beatrice, I'm standing before you as the candidate, but my heart beats so much to see that we attain social integration at the fastest rate. We have done so much. When you look at our GDP as Africa, our GDP is less, it's 10 times less than that of United States of America. That is as Africa in general. When you look at the East African GDP, it's quite below the standard. And then when you look at Uganda, people are talking of trillions, and in Uganda we are talking of billions. It's so below. Now, why am I so much passionate about this thing? I feel these colonial lines, the borders that we see, the Ugandan border, the Congo border, these borders should be dealt away with. In the previous, before the colonies came to Africa, we were actually trading as one community. We had one trading currency which was called barter trade. We used to use barter trade to exchange goods, and we had no conflicts everywhere. I think it's high time we involved community, because in this process, the East African community unification, I think we've left the community behind to speak, to also air out their voices. I want to come and mobilize the community, sensitize the community about this. I want them to be part of this. Let them also speak and tell us what do they want. We have tabled bills which so far have attained the three among the four principal pillars of East Africa that we stand on. That is the custom union, the common market, and the monetary union. The custom union, it was effective in 2005. When you look at the common market was actually signed and tabled in 2018, and then the monetary is still on the table. When you look at the political federation that all of us are heartbeats to have it attained, it cannot be attained when this first three has not yet been attained, and all the three has been delayed by the sovereignty of the partner states. I want to mobilize, to sensitize. I want the community to speak, to attract these leaders so that they gain more interest in this progress. This is going to help our nation. Uganda, our currency is so weak. Imagine if we could only combat or combine together with the rest of the partner states and have one currency that would speak for us better. We would have better economy. We would actually not be staggering the way we are. We would have avoided several taxes, these revenues that we pay across the borders. You pay unnecessary tax. We would have eliminated many of these abnormalities that is making us retard economically. Secondly, I want to also I'm going to advocate for strategic security. We desire this. We need this to be on board. Much as we are pushing for the purpose of the unification economically, socially, and so forth, we also need to tackle the security bit of it. You cannot say we are going forward when your security is not there. Actually, you're not defended. We must establish a defensive military base. We must secure our space. If it means also going to space like China does, like US has done, like all these other superpowers they do, we are able to do it as East African community, and eventually the African unification will come to attain. And I think that is really going to help us so much to try and also compete with the superpowers. When you look at our GDP, we are really doing badly off. So I conclude by saying, all Ugandans, please put me in your prayers. I pray for me for favor, for wisdom, that the Lord may empower me with his strength and wisdom, and I'm able to stand on that platform and actually voice your voices out there and fight for your best interest. And to my great president, His Excellency, we thank you for all the tireless work and the commitment towards the East African community unification. Papa, this is your granddaughter who is so determined and focused, and I'm too loyal. I am focused to attaining this. I want this to come to realization. To my great voters, the members of the 12th Parliament, please, in me there is your solution. I have all it takes to do this work for you, and I'm going to do it for you. I will go and lobby, I will advocate, I will actually lobby even for what you don't even think. So I will do it for you, for the betterment of our community. One voice, one East Africa. I remain Balia Beatrice Karungi. Thank you so much.
Honorable,
yes.
I'm a bit late.
Yes, actually at this stage I do not expect us to look at gender, because one, interest, two, intellectuality, intelligence, it doesn't know sex. I may be female and there are many male around there. I beat them, or just with intellectuality I am good. And when it comes to trust, I am one candidate you can trust. I've been mentored for the past 30 plus years. I was born in the bush when this struggle was coming into being birthed. So I've been mentored by the best. I have been nurtured. I am ready. I have been given the necessary education that is required.
First of all, I am called Bangumia Fred Rwakizi. I am a contestant for Yala by election. Today I came here at our NRM Electoral Commission offices to verify our nomination file and put the new requirements that the Chairman Electoral Commission required us to bring. As you are aware, we are contesting to be in East African Parliament, and the major reason why we need to be in East Africa as a country, we need to be in East Africa because of three things. One is we need to be in East Africa because of trade. Trade, we cannot have the minimum market of Uganda when we have our neighbors, the population of our neighbors. If we include it in our country, the population, we add it to our country, then we have a bigger market. And the bigger market facilitates trade. And trade facilitates infrastructure and industrialization. And when we have factories here, our generation, our young people can get jobs, and we generate much resources. And when we have resources as a region, we can undertake East African infrastructures together. Like East African crude oil pipeline, East African airways, East African standard gauge railway. So when we have money in our region, we can undertake those investments together. Secondly, we are in this community because of security. I have been telling people, Uganda cannot be secure when our region is not secure. We have had issues where some of negative forces have been operating within our neighbors. So if we are to be secure as a country, we need to be secure as a region. We need to be secure as a region. So, and the Parliament, East African Parliament, has a duty in policy formulation and the structure and the composition to make sure some of these security policies are passed and implemented. So that's why we are in this race, because we need to champion some of those things that we see that can help our country. Thirdly, we are looking at aligning the East African Parliament with the national parliaments. Sometimes you find that the policy is passed at the regional level, but it's not implemented at the national level. So we need to close that gap between the regional parliament and the national parliaments. So that what is passed in Arusha can be implemented in Nairobi, Kigali, Uganda, Kampala and Bujumbura. So that we move as a team, as a region, as a family. So I request honorable members of Parliament, of John's Parliament, to support me, to move with me, and I know we have been together. We need to be together. As my motto says, we are better together. Thank you so much. Ekisoka erinnya lyange bampita Bangumya Fred Rwakizi. Nze wano ku kitebe kyaffe kya era ali mu Electoral Commission okwekebejja fayiro yaffe n'okwongeramu ebibadde bibulamu ku fayiro yaffe nga mukimanyi mwena twagala kugenda mu East African Parliament. Naye process ewedde bulungi, twali buzibu bwonna, kati ekisigadde kwe kuddamu okunoonya akalulu mu babaka ba Parliament, especially aba 12th Parliament. So mbasaba Abannayuganda, babaka ba Parliament, mikwano gyange, mbasaba mujje twegatte wamu, tutambule wamu, tulabe nti East African Parliament tugiyingira bumu, kubanga Uganda eyagala bingi mu East African Community. Kyovola tugendayo, twagalayo ebintu bisatu. Kisooka twagalayo obusuubuzi. Tulaba nga akatale ka Uganda wano tekamala 40 million abantu kadaana tibumala kunkulaakulana y'eggwanga lyaffe. So twagala kugattako enamba ey'abantu ab'e Kenya, ab'e Tanzania, ab'e Rwanda ne Burundi ne South Sudan ne Congo. Tulabe tugaziya akatale kaffe, ebirime byaffe n'emirimu gyaffe gye tukola efune akatale akanene mu East African region. Ekyokubiri twagala obutebenkevu. Ndudde nga nkyogera kino ekintu kubanga Uganda tesobola kubeerawo nga ntebenkevu nga region yaffe si ntebenkevu. Kyovola abantu badde n'obuntu butonotono buva our neighbors here nga ADF, simanyi NOLU, simanyi M23 obuno bwonna. Era East African Parliament eyina enkizo kubanga eyina okuteekako etteeka eraba nti region yaffe ebeera sekiwa. Ate region yaffe ebeera sekiwa, naffe Uganda tubeera sekiwa nnyo. Ekyokusatu ndowooza twagala kuteekako essira kati kwalayininga Parliament yaffe eya East Africa n'eya Uganda n'amawanga amalala. Kubanga ebiseera ebisinga oyinza okusanga nti etteeka liyinza okuyita eri ate wano nga mu East African Parliament tebalifaako. Okitegeera? Tebalifaako. Kyovola aba twagala kutwalayininge Parliament ya East Africa ne Parliament zaffe endala ng'eye Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda. Etteeka bwe liyita eri n'eno bibeere considered and implemented. Ze nsonga ssatu zetwagala kuteekako essira mu East African Parliament mu kadde kana akatonotono. Mwebale nnyo.
I'm contesting for East Africa Legislative Assembly. I've come for the second time, if not the third time, because I contested in 2022. I've come back in 2026 and now again to express my interest. Whereas we had expressed interest 1 month ago, we expressed interest under the 11th Parliament. But now we are going to be voted by the 12th Parliament. So the party has guided and called upon us again to come and express interest so that we can now proceed with the elections in caucus. As per the party program, our names are supposed to be taken to SEC for vetting. After vetting, then those who will have been vetted would now proceed to caucus for elections. I'm quite sure that Honorable Kato Robert is more qualified, is experienced, and has the love to deliver the objectives and the vision of Uganda in the East African Legislative Assembly. As you see, East Africa, it has many countries, like over 7, and those 7 we need a holistic integration, a holistic market integration, no restrictions in trade barriers. So if we are to achieve the middle income status, if not the first. So I call upon MPs of the 12th Parliament, when my name comes over, they should vote Honorable Kato Robert. I promise I will perform to the expectations and the expectations of our party and the expectations of Uganda. Thank you. Bati, Honorable Kato Robert, emanya gange ntwala omukisa guno nti olunaku lwa leero ennaku z'omwezi 3 June 2026 nkomyawo expression of interest. Nti party yasazeewo nti abaakola expression of interest gulyo omulundi twakolamu expression of interest mu 11th Parliament. Kati eno 12th Parliament bebagenda okutulonda ne basalawo ne baggulawo nominations empya, expressions empya. era tukomyawo expression of interest then tusobole okugenda mu SEEK okubeera vetted. Kyemanyi obulungi nti mu bantu abali overqualified n'abantu abalina experience okukiikirira Uganda mu East Africa nti mwendi era abasinga bagoberera bugoberezi. Era gye mbaddeeyo nga ndi mu bizinesi zange wadde nga tunoonya n'obululu abaka babadde bagamba Kato gwakola ki gwasobola. Kyenkakasa nti abantu abalonzi bonna SEEK bwe naaba empande zeeko eddusa ogenda mu kalulu mu caucus ti akalulu nja kajjayo. Kati mu bantu bonna be twesimbyewo nayo nze nakukolera NRM okumala emyaka 10 nga nze returning officer wa Kampala ne Lubaga. Bw'otunuulira okusoma nina masters 2. Bw'otunuulira my capacity to deliver mu kalulu kano akakaggwa ti Kampala to deliver linze 44% ya President Museveni ekitabangawo mu Kampala. Kati bw'otunuulira omuntu ng'oyo aba suitable to deliver ebiruubirirwa bya Uganda mu East Africa.
Galawo boda era zaafectinga ffe kubanga abantu ba bulijjo ogenda okusanga nga ebyamaguzi byabwe tebyatambula nemba nga ntegeera kuba ndi mwana ow'ensalosalo. N'ekirala okuba nti mpangaalira mu Uganda ne Kenya okuba nti nkola ndi profession yange ng'omunnamateeka mulimu okusomoozebwa oluusi kw'osanga nti omunnayuganda akola amateeka mu Kenya kiki kyasanga. So genda osanga ngenda ku advocatingira voices ez'okuba nti ffe abali mu mikago gino egya East Africa ng'osobola okutambula yonna n'ova Burundi n'ojja Uganda n'okola bizinesi ate kati entambula nnungi omukulembeze waffe amakuba agenza agakola era muyozaayoza naye okuba nti chairman wa East African Community kati era njagala atambula naye mu advancing agenda ya East Africa. So genda okusanga nga bw'oba temufunye muntu ategeera biruma bannayuganda oba ebiruma region oba atambuliddemu nga nze okuba nti mbadde mpangalidde mu Burundi, Rwanda mbaddeyo, Kenya mbaddeyo, Uganda y'ensi yange mwembeera, ne Tanzania nali mbaddeyo. Kugenda okusanga munaalonda omuntu atabitegeera then aba agenda bugenzi kutuula mu ntebe nakufuna musaala mba njogedde bwentyo. Naye bwe mulonda omuntu abitegeera aba agenda kubanga ateeka eddoboozi mu bintu ng'ebya bizinesi. Mwagenda ne mulaba abantu baffe ababadde bakolera e Sudan we bafuna obuzibu nga Sudan waguddeyo challenges ate ne mulaba abantu baffe nabo nga bwe mbagambye example y'e Rwanda ebagalawo boda gundi then ne Congo wano bali bagamba M23 nawo bali kumiriranawo ne mwalabye ne Ebola nga bwe yazze nabange tukosafa abamuliraano. So ogenda osanga mwetaaga eddoboozi eritegeera region ate lyenze eddoboozi eryo ngenda ku advocatingira okumenyaawo ebisoomooza ebyamaguzi ze bayita trade barriers mu Luzungu ate ngenda ku advocatingira okukozesa ICT oba tekinologiya okutambuza ebyamaguzi. Bogenda okusanga nga ebyamaguzi bitwala ebbanga ddene okutuuka abantu oba okutuuka mu mawanga gabaga bigenda kutwala ennaku ate nga ICT yalibadde etuyambanga ebyamaguzi bibeera cleared okuva ku boda emu katugamenge eye Kenya nga temwetaaga kubikiryalinga bwe muba mutuuse obanga eggoma obanga muba mugenzi obanga Tanzania temwetaaga kukiryalinga butonto kiba kiri cleared e Uganda nga kigenda Tanzania clearance ebe emala temwetaaga kubiddamu nate kuba ezo delays eziteetera n'okuba nti ekintu omuwendo ku price y'ekintu egenda waggulu ate nga yalibadde entono. N'oku advocatingira abakyala ne ba youth okubanga nabo mu trade beetabikamu nnyo ate n'okuba nti bafuna funding especially maybe through circles kuba mugenda okusanga abakyala be bakwatirira nnyo families ezisinga mu Africa ate ne mu mawanga gaffe gano amagattiko. So neeyanza nnyo era nsaba bammemba baffe aba parliament bannonde kubanza asinga bonna olulimi lw'Oluswayiri ndutegeera tebajja tugeyageya nga tetutegeera bye boogera nja kuba nange nsobola okuwayamu nabo era ne tuteesa wamu ng'abo ab'emikago emigatte n'okusingako bannanga abamu oyinza n'okusanga nga n'olulimi tebalutegeera baana mu mukimanyi Mandela yagamba nti bwe oyagala okwogera n'omuntu okumukwatako nnyo yogera mu lulimi lw'ategeera oba akusembeza na nnyo ddala okwogera mu lulimi lw'atamanyi. So neeyanziza nnyo omukisa aba press neeyanziza nammwe kibakatikako okuba nti mutuyamba okutambuza omulamwa guno tusobole okufuna omuntu omutuufu nga nze okuba nti yagenda okurepresentinga eggwanga lyaffe mu East Africa. Mwebale nnyo omukisa ogwo.